Hi everyone, welcome to our Entity Live here on Facebook. Today we will be doing our Hot List collection, which is our Summer 2019 collection. My name is Robert Nguyen. I am the Creative Director for Entity Beauty, and we're going to be doing some nail art with Hot List. So I hope you guys are excited as I am, because this is our first ever Entity Facebook Live. And with that, what we will be doing is we will be giving away 3 collections to these special winners that will be commenting below, or just say hi, like us, do all of that, and you'll be entered to win one of these collections. So should we get started? Sounds good. All right. So what I've already gone ahead and done is that I've used EOCC, and for those of you that don't know what EOCC is, it is our Entity 1 Color Couture. It's our gel polish, yeah? So I've prepped the nails using our Perfector file, the 180 side, and then I've used the refiner to shape her nails, that's a 180. I've cleansed the nails, made sure they're all clean, applied our base coat, and I've done 1 coat of Spotlight, which is going to be our bright white. On the ring finger here, I've applied 2 coats of Spotlight as well as our top coat. So the technique that we're going to be doing today is going to be kind of like a sugaring effect using our Dip and Buff line. Bam! Upgraded size. So we have our new size, and what's really great about that is that we've matched the colors with our core line. So now you have 116 matching colors, and every new collection, seasonal collection that comes out, will also be having matching dip as well as lacquer and gel lacquer. All right. So now that we have the nails prepared, we can go ahead and start this. And the reason that I like this so much is that it's really easy to do, and I think almost anyone in the salon could do it. The collection that we have is just very bright and vibrant, and what I want to do here is create kind of like a tie-dye effect. It's inspired by kind of a Lisa Frank look. Because she just used very vibrant colors and they all tied in really well together. So when I first saw this collection, that's what I thought of. And the reason that we're going to be using Dip and Buff is because it creates a much nicer blend than using EOCC. So if you're not a real trained professional to do these blends using gel, you can try creating it with Dip and Buff. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First, I have Spotlight, which is going to be our Entity 1 Color Couture, bright white. I will go ahead and apply the second coat of this. Okay, we'll start off with 1 nail at a time so you guys can kind of see how it's done, and then afterwards we'll do it as if we were in the salon, doing all 5 fingers at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply a really thin coat. Right, this is just going to suck in that color, and that's pretty much all we want this coat to do, is to absorb that Dip and Buff powder. Cap the free edge as well. What's really nice about this brush is that it's a dome-shaped brush, right? So I'm able to get in that cuticle area and really just have a really clean line around her cuticle. Now when I do this, I'm going to start off with using the lightest colors first and then go into the darker colors later. What I have found is that the lighter colors, when they lay down on the bottom, they start to soak in a lot more and faster. So we still want those colors to show through, and that's why we will use those first. So the first color I have here is called Statement Sunnies. Right? It's going to be the really nice yellow. It has some metallicness in it, some of that shimmer that you love for during summertime. And I've got my dual-ended cuticle pusher here. I'm just going to sprinkle it on in random spots. Okay, so I kind of go from corner to corner. right? And you don't want to drop too much on, but you're just going to lightly tap your dual-ended pusher and release some of that powder onto the nail. Once I've done that, I will move on to my next color. So looking at this palette, I'll use this bright pink because this is very vibrant. It'll show up really nicely on the nail. Right? And just take a little bit, we don't need very much, and sprinkle it on. Okay? What that's doing now is that it's just soaking right in to that spotlight color that we've put underneath from EOCC. I'm going to turn her finger a little bit. And every time that I go into that powder, before I go in, I'm going to make sure that I wipe clean my cuticle pusher. That way I'm not contaminating my powder with the next color. Right? So we're going to go in, put a little bit of this blue here. I believe this color is called Designer Everything. One of my favorite colors.
Tao is tuned in and she says, hello, Robert.
Who is it?
Tao.
Oh, hi Tao. How are you? I hope you enjoy this design we're doing. All right. Next color, we have Playful Prints. Very lovely lavender color here. Once again, just sprinkling it on, letting it absorb into the spotlight color that we have underneath. And when you're doing this in the salon, some clients are very stiff. So you just want to be able to turn their finger a little bit so that you can get onto the side walls. Right? And then we get full coverage. And for the last color here, we will be using shredded denim. Okay. And I chose this color last because now we have the least amount of space on the nail that hasn't absorbed color in yet. And it's the darkest color, so I don't want it to be overpowering the nail with a bunch of dark colors, right? So I just choose it very minimally, placing it where powder hasn't gone on already. Now we can go ahead and cure this nail, so go ahead and put all 5 in. We're going to put it in our Entity Pro LED light. This will cure in the light for 30 seconds, okay? And once that has set, then we can go ahead and remove any excess powder that is on the nail now.
Dory has also tuned in.
Hi Dory, where are you from? I would love to hear.
And Paula says that she loves that the dip and buff now matches the other colors.
Ah, awesome. So dip and buff has been a huge success for us, and now that it matches all of our other colors, I just think that the success of that line will just be astronomical. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use a makeup style brush, remove any excess powder that is on the nail, right? And now we have a pretty smooth finish because we didn't apply that white gel very thick, right? And it creates a really fun tie-dye type of look, right, with all of these summer colors. And the way that I would finish this off is with our Entity 1 base coat, okay? So I'm going to put the base coat on and then we'll do the top coat. But before I do this, I'll go ahead and do the rest of the nails, okay? So, and then I want to do something special with her ring finger here. We'll do a little bit of sugaring effect with the same colors, and that will be her accent nail. All right, so you guys have all seen this already. I'm going to actually do the thumb last. Just because it's at an angle, it's a little bit harder to get that angle without smudging the other fingers. And at this time, I can go ahead and just do the spotlight on the middle finger as well as the pinky. Okay, so remember, just do it really thin, because if you do it too thick, it might not cure all the way. And that's one of the problems that I see technicians having when they do this technique, is that just applying it too thick and the light won't be able to cure all the way, and that could cause the nail to peel or chip, right? And you don't want that, so just make sure it's really thin. So we'll go ahead and do this again. The only color, I feel kind of bad, because the only color that I'm not using is Embellished Pumps, and it's such a nice color. It looks great, it would be great on an accent nail, but for this theme that we've gone with, I've decided to keep it out. Poor color.
Dory says she's loving that combo.
Thanks, Dory. And what's really fun about this is that it's just so easy that anyone can do it. And yet it just looks very fun and wild for summer. I'll probably be putting it on my toes later on. If anyone here would do it for me. All right, so we have Statement Sunnies. Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply it on the Pinkie as well. You don't have to be very accurate as to where you place it, right?
So where can our followers pick up the new summer collection?
You can pick up the summer collection at your nearest distributor. If you're not able to find it at your nearest distributor, you can always message us on Facebook, and we'll either guide you in the right direction or help you find someone. If your distributor doesn't have it, maybe you want to tell them that they should carry it. Okay. This color here is called Fringe Bikini. Very awesome color on its own. We're going to do Playful Prints. And then once again, just always remember to wipe your cuticle pusher or your brush. I prefer using a cuticle pusher because sometimes the brush becomes really hard to clean in between colors. And in the salon, we just don't have that amount of time to continuously clean our brush. So I like to use that cuticle pusher for that reason. And the nice thing about the Entity cuticle pusher is that it's dual-ended. So you can use this side to sprinkle on your powder, but then maybe if you got something on the cuticle with gel, you can come off onto the other side here and lightly remove it from the skin. So that's a really cool technique that you could use if you had an Entity dual-ended pusher.
How much would you charge for like a nail art design like this in the salon?
I think it really varies between salons and your location. And for myself, when I was working in the salon, for a regular gel manicure, we would charge about $42. And then on top of that, any nail art that they wanted would be a little bit extra. So something like this, it's a little bit more complicated, but yet at the same time, it's still so easy. I would probably charge anywhere from like $3 to $4 a nail. So if they were to do all 10, like what we're doing now, I would easily charge $30 more, right? So if you think about it, the amount of time that you spend on that same client, you could definitely upcharge them to a $70 service now versus that $40 service. And I think it's really important when you're in the salon to think about upselling your client because we are only able to work on one person at a time. So when you're only able to work on one person at a time, you can only get so much money out of each person, right? And as a professional, we always want to try to get the maximum amount of money that you can from your service or your time spent with that customer. And doing designs is one of the easiest ways to do that because, one, it's fun, but then your customer also has that customized look. The next color I have here is Shredded Denim. It's a really nice, deep purple. Because we're only doing one coat of it. It's not as deep as the actual color is, which is fine. I think it looks really nice along with the other colors here in this form. So if you guys don't forget to comment below, because we will be giving away 3 sets of these collections, right? So if you want to win a set, definitely comment, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, now that we've covered the nails, we'll go ahead and go in and do a cure for 30 seconds.
How long have you been doing nails for?
The question was, how long have I been doing nails for? I've been doing nails for, I think, about 14 years now. That's the math of it so far. I had my birthday yesterday, so yay me. But I think I started when I was 19, so when we do the math, it's about 14 years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long because it's just been so much fun and rewarding at the same time. So it definitely feels like it's much less than that. But wow, 14 years. Scary. All right. Here we have an entity brush wipe. Really nice. We can lay that out, remove any excess powder that is on the nail. Right? Revealing what we have created with the design underneath. Same thing on the pinky. Let's come in here. Move any excess powder. Okay? And so that's a really fun look that we have there. And a lot of people will even rock these nails the way that they are with that matte look. And like I said, that technique is called the sprinkling technique, or sugar effect. And we are starting to see a lot of people wear that type of nail style. So we wanted to make it a little bit more fun. Instead of just having one solid color, we would use the whole Hot List collection and make it a little bit more fun.
Paula just commented and she says she loves the new collection.
Well, thanks, Paula. The more you comment, the more likely you'll win. I think that's how it works. I don't know. But just keep doing what you're doing. All right, so once again, now we're using Spotlight again, brushing it on really thin. Delicious. All right, so now that I have that really thin coat, we'll go ahead and do our Dip and Buff powders again. Statement Sunnies. And like I said this before, I like to do the light colors first because we don't want them to get covered up or lost from the other colors. The other colors could be darker and it could cover up this light color underneath here, and you might not be able to see it ever again if you had too much of the dark colors on top already. And everyone wants a little bit of yellow on their nails for summer, because it'll match really nicely with that tan. So, there goes Statement Sunnies. Okay, remember to always wipe your cuticle pusher clean in between your steps.
For anybody tuning in, can you tell them what the giveaway is today?
Yeah, so the giveaway today is actually 3. So we're gonna pick 3 winners, okay? And each winner will receive a Hot List collection in the gel lacquer formula. So that is your extended wear lacquer formula. So make sure that you comment below, ask some questions, and then you'll be entered automatically to win. All right, we're gonna go ahead and sprinkle this on. And if you feel like it's just too opaque where you're putting it, bring your cuticle pusher up a little bit, right? The further you move away from that nail, the more that powder gets to spread out and it becomes a little bit more fluffy, creating a less opaque color.
So why did you become a nail tech?
Do you want the real answer to that? So, she asked me why I became a nail tech, and I'll give you the true, honest answer. I just wanted to hit on girls. Just kidding. I was in college, and I really wasn't doing very much with myself in college. I was going to some business classes, and then really just kind of ditching school a lot. So I really wasn't doing anything good with myself, and that's when my brother Vu decided to guide me in the right direction. So he asked me if I wanted to go and do nails, and he was already doing nails for about 2 or 3 years before me, and he was very successful. So of course, as a younger brother, I was very influenced by him, and I decided that maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to go do nails after all. And that's when I signed up for nail school, and it's been very rewarding, and I've had a very awesome time in this industry. All right. So also remember that your client is very stiff, right? And so you got to take control of that finger. And if you need her to turn a little bit, just go ahead and turn her finger, because she really doesn't know where she needs to be. Okay. Now we've sprinkled on a little bit of this dark color here, which is shredded denim. All right, we can go ahead and cure. So all 5. Yeah, there you go.
And how long are you curing for?
So I'm curing this in the Entity Pro LED light for 30 seconds. If you're using a different light, like let's just say you're using a UV light instead, you might have to cure for a little bit longer. And for a UV light, you're going to probably look at about 2 minutes, right? At this time, I think a lot of people are using LED, so 30 seconds is all it's going to take. Okay, I've laid down my Entity brush wipe, and then now I can brush off any excess powder that hasn't adhered to the nail itself. And once again, it reveals that tie-dye look that we've created. All right, so now we have it on all 4 fingers. This other one, once again, we're going to be doing a accent nail, which I'll be hand painting some stuff on there and then doing the sugar effect on that nail. Okay, so just to finish these ones off, I will be using our Entity 1 Color Couture base coat, and this really adheres that top coat much better to the dip than if you were to just leave it alone. So I know a lot of us, after we do acrylics or gel, we want to just go straight into our top coat. However, because we use dip in the system, I highly recommend using a base coat before we do our top coat.
And how long does a dip manicure last versus like a gel manicure?
So typically your gel manicures will last you about 2 weeks. All of this really depends on your natural nail, the state that it's in. However, most people could wear a gel manicure for about 2 weeks. A dip system typically lasts about 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, we've had clients that have gone much longer than that. However, we always recommend that they go about 3 weeks. You want to be able to come in and just remove that and get a fresh set every time. Okay, when we brush on this base coat here, I'm putting a lot of pressure, right? And you can still kind of see that the nail is uneven, and that's going to be smoothened out once we put on our top coat. So really don't worry about it too much. Make sure you get onto the sidewalls. That's probably the most important part. Okay, onto the pinky. And like I said, you don't have to put on a top coat if you don't want to. You can wear these the way that they are. You will just have a little bit of that texture, but some people like that, and some people don't. So if you decide not to have that texture, then go ahead and do a base coat. You can use a matte top coat if you wanted, or your traditional shiny top coat to finish off this nail.
How do you usually find your inspiration for nail art?
In my head? You know, I think in life we go through many different things, and so for this, I just kind of, I saw the colors and instantly I just thought of Lisa Frank, right? I remember back in like elementary school, kids had these bright folders with like little dogs and little puppies on them. And the first thing I thought of was Lisa Frank, and so that's where my inspiration came for these nails. And I usually take inspiration from a lot of things around me, whether it's carpet or like the rug, or you know, maybe it's a cool vase that I saw. And then nowadays we have so much social media going on. Things like Instagram and Facebook are great outlets for people to get inspiration for their nails. All right, now that we have the base coat on, I can go ahead and cure this in our light. Traditionally, you would cure it for 10 seconds with the entity system, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. We don't want to over cure it, or we don't want to waste time if it's not needed. All right, go ahead and come out. So now that we have the base coat cured, we can go ahead and apply our EOCC top coat. Okay.
If any of our followers are interested in becoming an educator, how would they do that? And like, what are you guys looking for as far as requirements?
So if you want to become an entity educator, first off, it's really rewarding, so I highly recommend that you try to be an entity educator. You have that ability to go out there and share your knowledge with other people in the industry. Maybe it's just someone that has just started doing nails and they need some extra help. You know, so I always encourage people to become educators. And what we look for in our educators is just, you know, probably about 2 years of salon experience, but then you have to have that energy and that drive to want to teach people how to be successful in the industry. You know, I've always enjoyed my positions, and whenever I travel, to share my knowledge with people around the world. And now with Facebook, once again, this is such a great outlet for me to do that. So if you want to be an educator, you can definitely message us on Facebook, and they will get you in contact with either myself or someone else that can point you in the right direction. And at that point, we will ask for your resume and probably your portfolio so that we can kind of see your work. Now we have so much work shown on Instagram already that, you know, don't be afraid to share your Instagram with us as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this thumb here.
Dory has commented and said the colors are perfect as it's Pride Month.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Dory.
Dory? Hi, Dory. I think you're absolutely right. These colors are awesome, not just because it's Pride Month, but because it's summertime, and summer starts today, everybody. So now it's time to wear these colorful nails. All right, let's go in. I've gone ahead and I've applied the Entity 1 Color Couture top coat on 4 nails. We're going to cure it in our Entity Light for 30 seconds. And this will ensure that we get a really nice shine. For the accent nail, what I'm going to be doing is a sugar effect, but I'm going to do a portion of the nail so that it really stands out from the rest of them. I've got my Entity palette here. I've already put a little bit of Entity Color Couture Spotlight on there. I'm going to need a little bit more for this design. So I'm just going to put it right there. And then what I also have to go with this is my Entity art brush. Okay, so what's really nice about these is that it comes in a 4-pack, right? So I personally prefer a longer bristle brush. We have a shorter hair brush, and then we have a flat square brush, and then it also comes with a dotting tool. So, you know, we could do this design with the dotting tool. We could use it with any of these other brushes, but for this specifically, I'm going to use the line hair brush. All right, let's go there. Okay. So what I'm about to paint now is kind of paisley-like, kind of tribal tattoo-ish. Just a bunch of random squiggly lines, I guess. Okay, so I chose to use Spotlight. Even though it's Spotlight on Spotlight, you can still see it a lot better than if we were to use a top coat. If you use the top coat, it's a little bit hard to see. So if I use Spotlight on Spotlight, I can still see where I'm painting and create this design. All right, so I'm just going to use the very point of my brush. And the way I have it loaded is that it's not going to release too much product as I'm painting. Okay. And that's another thing that I find whenever I travel around and watch people do nails, is that they have that tendency to overload their brush with product, right? They want to really get in there and have a big bead like this on their brush. Whereas when you're painting something intricate or fine, you really don't need that much, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just remove all of that product and just get what I need. And from there, we can go in and just use the point of our brush and drag that product across.
Dory just commented and she asked, did you ever meet Tom Holcomb or Tom B? If so, what was their best advice?
I met both Toms, and this was really when I first got started in the industry. This was like 2005, and that's when Entity started. So I remember the brand way back when, you know, Tom and Tom were together, and I was competing at the time, and I remember Tom Bajek coming up, and he's like, "Dude, awesome work," because I did a competition for airbrushing, and I airbrushed this Lamborghini on 10 nails. He's like, "Dude, awesome job," you know, with the competition. I took first place, and Tom's like, "Dude, awesome, dude." And so I started talking with him, and turns out, you know, he was into like motorcycle, helmet painting. And then he got into nails. And so when he saw the airbrush stuff, we kind of like connected. And, you know, the advice that came from them is just to keep on doing what you're doing because you're doing such a great job. I really didn't get an opportunity to talk with Tom Holcomb. I really wish I did. But those two guys, you know, when I got started, they were very inspirational. They gave me the whole line of acrylic at the time. I just remember going back and I had this really cool like push-up brush thing from Entity, and I really took it for granted. You know, I was just so new that I was like, okay, cool, free stuff. But then now looking back at it, I'm like, dude, like I got product from Tom and Tom. Like, how cool is that? And it was with Entity, so it's kind of touching now, right? But I think, you know, the main advice is just to continue doing what you do.
How long have you been a creative director at Entity?
I've been the creative director here at Entity for a little over a year. And so far it's been really great. We've been coming out with some really cool products. Some of it, you know, we can't share with you today. However, we will share it in the following months. Some of you that are going to be going to Cosmoprof Las Vegas, we'll see you there. And you can kind of see what we're doing with the brand. A lot of fun things, like I said. Today, what you guys get to see is our new Hot List collection in all 3 matching formulas with our lacquer, our gel, and then our dip system. And don't forget, that is also in our core line with 116 colors. So I've really enjoyed my time so far as the creative director here at Entity, because there's just so much room for this brand to grow, and I just, I'm very thankful that I'm a part of that.
Paula just commented, and she says she loves the 4-piece brush set. Very versatile, especially for traveling.
I didn't even think of that, but I travel so much that it just like flies right over my head. But these brushes, bam, remove that, and now you've got a cap. So all 4 of them are great for traveling. I don't really think about it, but this is all I do. I have this in my backpack or my luggage, and then it comes off, and then next thing you know, I'm doing nails. But that's a great thing that you can travel with it. A lot of us nail techs in Los Angeles are traveling nail techs. We're going out to celebrities' houses or hotels and doing their nails, and we need to keep these brushes safe. So having that cap is great for it.
And for anyone tuning in, can you tell them what you're doing today, the designs that you came up with, the formulas you're using?
All right, so if you're just tuning in or you're watching this after and you've skipped ahead to the fun parts, what we're doing today is we are doing some Lisa Frank inspired nail art using our Hot List summer collection from 2019. I've used our EOCC system as well as our dip and buff system. So it's a combination of both to create this look. Now on the ring finger, what I'm doing is I'm going to do a little bit of sugaring. So I'm currently hand painting some designs using our long striper brush, and then using Spotlight to create the look. Right, so I'm almost there, but once I'm done with this, then I can go ahead and start my sugaring, which we find very popular now. Right? I think a lot of technicians are doing it because it is very simple, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. So she has a pretty short nail. I don't want to go and overwhelm this nail with too much sugaring. I could do the whole entire nail if I wanted to, but I wanted to create some of that negative space in there. And so I'm going to leave it the way it is, and we're going to go ahead and start sugaring. All right, so once again, we're going to start with our lightest colors. There's very little on here, so typically I would probably use this yellow here. However, I don't want it to blend in too much with the white that I have underneath, so I'm going to skip that. Okay. The color we have here is called Fringe Bikini. Okay. So with Fringe Bikini and my dual-ended pusher, cuticle pusher, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit on. So I am removing any excess from my cuticle pusher and then sprinkling the rest on there. Okay. I like to have my jar right underneath, and then you see I have some of that residue from the Fringe Bikini, right? So once again, just really go in there, make sure that we clean that cuticle pusher before we go into the blue color here. The further we are from the nail, the more it's gonna get sprinkled on and kind of spread, creating finer, like a mist type of look versus solid color. And what's really cool is that even though we've sprinkled on a few colors already, if you don't like the way that it's starting to look, you can always wipe this off before curing it in the light. Okay, so we have Playful Prints. Remove any excess powder. And then now I'm going to use our darkest color, Shredded Denim. And just cover the rest of this nail. Alright. I think those of you that are just now tuning in, just remember that we are giving away 3 sets of the Hot List collection. So be sure to comment below so that we know that you're watching, and you have that chance to win this fine collection. We will be giving it away in the lacquer formula. So yeah, you get that extended wear at home. And yet it's very easy to remove. Okay, we're going to put it in our Entity Pro LED for 30 seconds. Once that's cured, I can remove that excess powder using my makeup style brush. All right. And what we're left with is a pretty cool, funky design. And you can kind of see how those colors just blended in. This would be much harder to create if you were to use like a gel lacquer to try to paint this design, because you're constantly blending in colors. However, since we use Dip and Buff, now I have this really cool design that is cured on, right? So I don't really have to worry about it chipping off or anything. It's just gonna adhere with the gel that's right underneath. All right. So for the rest of the nails, we're gonna use our Entity Natural Nail Prep with our Entity Brush Wipe. Okay. And we're gonna cleanse these nails. Make sure you get right into those corners so that you can remove any residue that has seeped or is staying on the surface of the nail. But we want to just make sure we get all full coverage of that nail so that the customer doesn't leave sticky. All right. And that's pretty much our finished look there. I don't have any cuticle oil, so. So that's our finished look. Hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Entity Beauty on all platforms. That's going to be Facebook, Instagram, I don't know what else, YouTube, right? Wherever you are on social media, you can find us at Entity Beauty. You can find myself at Nail Guy TV. And once again, remember to comment. We will be looking at these later to find our winner. And here is that fine collection, because I don't think you see it off onto the side, but here it is. The whole summer collection, really nice, bright, vibrant colors. Perfect for the start of summer, which is today. So make sure you comment, and good luck with the winnings. Bye, everybody.